أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم رب اشرح لي صدري ويسر لي أمري واحلل عقدة من لساني يفقهوا قولي. Okay. So I'm going to back to Google Classroom and we're at 50. Surah Maida, chapter 5. And verse number 50. So we're going to go to judgment of the time, ignorance, the desire, but who is better than Allah in judgment? Did you write the comment? Who is better than Allah in judgment? For a people who are certain in faith?
No.
Yeah, so the answer would have been that no one is better than
No.
judgment than Allah. Let me see if I think I didn't get to change that. Okay, the description would be, if I go to clip, yeah, is, um, can't find the quiz competition. Okay, I put that. Multiculturalism. Okay, it's not showing. I'm not going to the description right now. I'm just going to write Quran and it's quiz and it's from 550 and the question was who is right now. It's at okay. All right, and the question is there it is. Who is better than Allah in judgment? Who is better than Allah in judgment? Okay. Yeah. So add to the playlist Quran quiz, and then we do altered, and this is no, and then we do short text with the not entertainment, the education, and I'll do the description later. Let's save this, and then I'm going to go in this one. To copy. So you didn't get a chance to do the answers here for the last 2 days. You haven't written the comment. You did comment 7 days ago. You didn't get a chance to. Anyways, okay. Okay, you can read. A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Go ahead, Asma. Oh, we did the 50, right? It's 51 now.
Sorry, I was
Yeah.
muted. يا أيها الذين آمنوا لا تتخذوا اليهود والنصارى أولياء بعضهم أولياء بعض ومن يتولهم منكم فإنه منهم إن الله لا يهدي القوم الظالمين.
MashaAllah. Tabarakallah. So we have here Ya O Ya ayyuhallazina. O you alladhina, those who amanu believe, la not tattakhizu take al Yahud the Jews, one Nasara, wa and al the Nasara Christians, awliya as allies. Ba'duhum, some of them, awliya are allies, ba'd for others. Wa and man whoever yatawallahum takes them as allies, min among kum you, fa then inna indeed who he, min of whom them is one of them, right? Inna indeed Allah la does not Yahdi guide al Qawm means people, al Zalimin al is the Zalimin are wrongdoers. Go ahead. Read the translation, Asma.
Okay, yes, sir. All you who have believed, do not take the Jews and the Christians as allies, as they are in fact allies of one another, and whoever is an ally to them among you, in that indeed he is one of them. Indeed, Allah guides not the wrongdoing people.
Yeah, mashallah. Okay, so this is a very important ayat because for the people living here in Canada and North America and non-Islamic countries, that people do not realize that making friends which who are not Muslims, acquaintance is different. Acquaintance means that you say hello and hi because they're your classmates or at work, and then you help each other, you do projects together. That's fine, that's not being friends. But friends, if you take them as your friends, then Allah has specifically said that. Okay, hold on, please. Okay, I'm going to share again. Yes, we're in the translation. So I was explaining that I was going through this lecture of Dr. Zakir Naik. Do you know Dr. Zakir Naik?
Nope.
Okay, he's very famous for, um, worldwide for, how every speaker has their own specialty. He is expert in comparative religions, you know, and he can tell, like when he's giving lectures, number of ayahs with the references, with numbers and the references right on his head. So mashallah is very famous, and I think hundreds, if not thousands, people have reverted to Islam, you know. So he's very famous. So he kind of is against, people living in non-Islamic countries because somehow they do develop some of the traits of them, right? So, but that's just opinion. Of course, there are Muslims and in all over around the world that need help, that need someone to have halal stores and masjids, and we need Islamic schools, mosques, and we need halal grocery stores. So Muslims have to serve each other. So being here is fine, but he was against actually not living, but actually sending your kids for studying abroad. And so that, anyways, so the bottom line, what I'm trying to say is that Allah subhanahu specifically says that the Jews and the Christians are, do not take them as your allies, and they're allies for one another. And whoever is an ally to them among you, then indeed he's one of them. And that's the big statement. That if you're their allies, then what that means? You are one of them. And that's exactly what we see happens. They start to, like, you wouldn't believe, I've seen here kids grow up in front of us and they have totally changed. And I think one of the reasons the parents allowed them to make friends with non Muslims, and they celebrate all the traditions, and just right now, and they even get married to non-Muslims. That's how much they change. And I believe one of the reason is that they were not stopped from making friends, allies. That means doing whatever they're doing, because when you're friends, they say, okay, let's go out for dinner. They go out for dinner with them, right? And that's ahead of your school, ahead of your job, right? You meet at the job, do your work, and come back home. But then when you're going outing and they're eating halal or not halal, and slowly and gradually you take that color. In the same way, in the occasion. So we have seen people change in the past 20 years from children to adults when they're totally different from what their parents were supposing them to be living in non-Islamic countries. So that's why this eye is very important. I wanted, people nowadays, they come. Remember, we had students here in grade 3 and 4. So the parents were so much, when they came here, oh my God, they have to be Islamic school and everything, and they wanted to give Islamic environment. But then what happened after 2 years with in our school? They decided to put them in public school, grade 3 and 4, and I'm surprised that this is the time they should have been in Islamic school, because this is where they learn a lot of things that's against Islamic teachings, right? And then becomes normal, because when you are going every day, listen to the same story, seeing other people around you doing the same thing, then what happens is that you start doing the same thing and without thinking. And um then what is considered wrong is considered okay, you know like, if I don't know if you've seen, you go to weddings, right? And I remember when we were kids, the bride would be crying, a little sad because she's leaving her family at the time of marriage, when she's leaving the house, right? But now, in 20 years, I see that they're dancing. I mean, there's such a big difference. And that's obviously against and dancing in front of so many people. They're male and females, and we don't consider it's wrong because it's a part of the culture, and they think it's acceptable. This is what happens when you are mingling with the non-Muslims so much that you forget what is right and wrong, and you're not even reading the Quran, and so that it will remind you all the time what is right and what is wrong. So this is what is happening, and it's a serious issue that needs to be addressed. So we have Haika and Abdullah. They were here, right? And the parents were asking me as well. Do you have other students? And two students were interested. A mother was calling, and because I get these calls all the time, so that's why I can relate to this ayah as well so much, that people do not consider what Allah Subhanahu wa Taala is saying, right? And I had this mother, and she wanted to put her daughter in grade 7, and the biggest concern is not the non-Muslims. She said the challenge is not the non-Muslims, because you can tell your kids in public schools, okay, don't make friends, right? I mean, just say hi, hello, like friends, but like acquaintance, not just doing whatever they're doing, right? So what happened is that she said the biggest challenge is not the non-Muslims, because they are different, and we tell them that not to follow them, right? Christian, not be too much friends with them. Or but what happens, she said, the biggest challenge right now are the Muslims themselves. And I was surprised she wants to put the Muslim school, Islamic school. And I'm like, okay, fine, she can start right away, like from December. And then she said the biggest challenge is that when she goes to the public school, so she comes back and says, well, I understand that non-Muslims things we should not do, but the Muslims are doing it. So she was saying the biggest challenge are the Muslims themselves, because they're not following Islam themselves, they're following the non-Muslim customs, and that is becoming. And other children come to their parents and say, "Oh, Mama, you keep telling us that this is wrong, but Muslim girls are doing it, or Muslim children are doing it. So why are you saying it's wrong?" So you see, how the biggest challenge are not the non-Muslims, the Muslims themselves who are not following Islam. So just an example I can give you, that if a girl goes to school and they're young, right? Like you're in grade 7, mashallah, so you understand now. But if you were in grade 4, grade 3, and if you went to that school and you would come back, oh, Mama, you asked me to wear hijab, and look at other non-Muslim girls, they don't wear it. You know what I mean? Would you ask that question? Asma, are you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah. So I'm just saying that if you were in grade 3 and grade 4, and you were going to this the public school, and then you see other Muslim children, girls not wearing hijab, for example, wouldn't you come home and ask your mom, why are non-Muslims don't wear, that's fine, but other Muslim girls are not wearing it? So would you ask that question to your mom?
So,
I'm sorry.
maybe, sure.
Yeah, maybe, right? You don't know because you haven't been to. Mashallah, you went to masjid and you went to Islamic school and then you were in Saudi Arabia. So for you, alhamdulillah, it's not an issue. But then those who go to the non-Muslim schools, what happens is that slowly and gradually they ask one thing after the other. First is the saw hijab, then it's eating, or the other Muslim kids are not also eating you know, they're eating pork, and they like pizza or anything, and they would say, oh, they wouldn't care about the halal because other kids don't care. So that's the biggest challenge. So I like the mother when she said it's not the non-Muslims, it's the Muslim children themselves that are challenged for my daughter. And then she wanted to put from December, but I think the reason why the new students would not come, because when you tell them in grade 7, I'm switching schools, they have friends. Remember in the beginning of the year, I had a girl called Liana, remember? And she stayed for 1 month, and then the mother said, oh, she's missing her friends. Do you understand? Same thing, allies, that when they make friends, like I've seen a dozen of people, even seen some tenants, some, they came from Pakistan, the kids were big, and when they started making friends, like every single day I saw the difference, that their clothing's changed. She brought her friends which were non-Muslims, and their girls were wearing shorts. And then in a couple of years, 4 or 5 years, their own daughters started wearing clothes like that. That's the color, you know. That's how they develop without understanding that they're actually mixing into the culture. Some are strong, mashallah, but that I believe is only probably, maybe we can do some statistics one day for research, how many people are changing. That itself is a research project, alhamdulillah, that we could do that. How many are changing from, and I've seen from my eyes. So I think not that they going to the public schools, they um, what is the percentage of children who are changing, and from, because I can see many changing, and the parents calling for the same issue, that the sister Shala is here. Assalamu alaikum, sister Shala.
Walaikum assalam, yes.
Yes, sister. We're discussing a very important topic today, and that's
Mm-hmm.
concerning in Canada as well as worldwide, where there are non-Muslims, children studying in non-Muslim countries.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and it would have been nice if Haika and Abdullah would have been here too. But if you see in
Mm-hmm.
Surah Maida, chapter number 5, verse number 51,
Mm-hmm.
Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala saying, do not, oh, you have believed, do not take the Jews and the Christians as allies. They are in fact allies of one another. And whoever is an ally to them among you, then indeed he's one of them. That's a big statement, you know. If you are allies to them, then Allah is considering you one of them. Indeed, Allah guides not the wrongdoing people. So this is so important for to tell children that acquaintance and being nice and kind and polite and helping is fine, helping in projects, helping in job, but being allies, being with them for like going outing and eating what they're doing and dressing what they're doing, if you're friends, you become one of them. And I was telling Asma, I've seen with my own eyes in so many years how people have come from Pakistan or other Islamic countries and then sending their kids to public school. Like one of my, people, they were tenants, and the children came, and I saw their non-Muslim children coming, friends, and wearing shorts. And within 2 3 years, they started wearing the same clothes. I've seen that happen. And I got a call from two parents last month for in November, where they wanted one of them wanted her daughter to join grade 7. I had two grade 7 children calling, right? Parents calling for grade 7. And she told me that now in the schools, it's not the non-Muslims that are challenged, it's actually the Muslims themselves. And I said, how? And she said, it's because my daughter goes to school. And she said, I understand, Mama, you're saying not to be friends with the non-Muslims, right? Because we might adapt their culture and everything. But she said, but Muslims are doing it. And I said to Asma, like now, mashallah, she has been Islamic school and masjid, alhamdulillah. So she hasn't faced that problem. But like you remember, we had two girls last year. I think you weren't here last year. So the mother came from India, and she was called me and she said, I don't want to, I want the Islamic environment for my daughters. And they were with 2 years with us, right? And 2 years. And then in the third, and she said, oh my, never I want to put them. And this year, this she said, I talked to them and they said, oh, we put them public school. So they become like generous and normal in what's happening, and forget that grade 3 and 4 is the age where they will be adopting the most. And they come back home and say, oh, you tell us to wear hijab, but other Muslim girls are not wearing it. And then they come back and say, oh, you're saying that not to eat not halal food, and others Muslim, they're also Muslims and they're also eating which is not halal. And this becomes a greater challenge for the parents, how to address that, to say that, oh, non-Muslims do things we do not do. Children understand, but when they say other Muslim children are doing it, so she was saying to me that the Muslims are themselves are bigger challenge. Now, how can she cope up with that? To make them small children understand that they're practicing and non and less practicing Muslims are the biggest challenge, you know. So this is what I was trying to understand. That I think the girls that did not take admission this year, sorry, in December, the mom spoke to me last month. It's probably the girls don't want to now because they have friends. Remember, Sister Shella, in the beginning we had Liana. What was her name? She joined us in September. Grade 3 or 4 student. Do you remember, Sister Shella? In September,
Yes. It was
Liana, Leah, I think what her name was.
Yes.
Leah, yeah, she was nice, very nice girl. But the thing is that the mother said after 1 month that she's missing her friends. So I believe the grade 7 children, the girls that did not come in December, the mother was wanted. It's because now she doesn't want to leave her friends.
Mm-hmm.
So it's very, very important from grade 3 and 4. I mean, actually, from grade 1 is best. But kindergarten children forget, right? But grade one, two,
Yes.
and the more the grades they are getting higher, 3 and 4, is the most the grade that needs the most attention because this is where now they're learning the most. So from grade 1 to grade 8, it is highly, highly important. And if they can stretch their parents up to grade 12, that's best. Then when they go to university, then mashallah, they have a whole strong mind where they know the difference between right and wrong. Then they can. I remember I was buying some books, and the lady over there was saying, okay, I told them I need from Islamic school because our Islamic school was in person. So she said that, oh, you put Islamic schools, and what will happen when they go to university? But when they go to university, mashallah, they have a whole set of mind that is important. And I was telling Asma as well that I've seen in 20 years so many, children change. They come, even my cousins, my relatives, the children came here, and then half they came from Pakistan, and within 10 years they're willing to marry non-Muslims. And this relative of mine, she said the parents don't want anything. They said just a Muslim. And now I can't say on the face, but what I was suggesting, in high school children are liking each other, right? So I said, if you had put them in Islamic school, right, at least the partner would have been Muslim. I mean, these parents, you put them in non-Muslim environment, they can choose anyone. So those people who are religious, even in high school, they do nikah of their child. One of my cousins is doing that. But the good thing is that at least the partner is a Muslim. That's what the parents want. Can you imagine for parents when living here and then the child declares that he or she wants to marry a non-Muslim? It's devastating for the parents. And there were those few years that if they had paid attention from grade 1 or 2 to grade 11 or 12 or 10, whatever they could do, mashallah, mashallah, it would have made a big difference. My argument is always that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala could have just sent the Quran. Okay, read the book and become Muslims. Why did he have to send all these messengers? It means teachers needed, right? You need teachers to teach a book. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala did not just send the books, right? Okay, go read the book and become Muslims. No. The messengers spent so much difficult time, difficult life, and people are accusing them, calling them mad, calling them, a magician. And then the prophets are there taking all those struggles and all those problems just to teach the people about Islam. It's a whole struggle. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala sent messengers. What that means, that teaching has to be done. You need to put your children to the masjid programs, Islamic school programs, teaching at home, especially living in a non-Islamic country. That's how challenging it is. So that's why it's very important to read the Quran to understand that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala clearly mentions, this Surah Ma'idah chapter 5, verse number 51, that we should refrain. And it's so important for children to understand because tomorrow they will be married and they will have kids. So they should understand how to make a difference. But again, as sister said, even the Muslims are a challenge. Not the Muslims, but I would put the correct word, non-practicing Muslims are a challenge for the Muslim children, because they're not practicing themselves, and that's what they are setting an example for others. So we should be, that's why it is said we should behave our best, because we all are setting example for the non for the people around us. So the question I will make from this for homework is, should Muslims make allies, should take Jews and Christians as allies? Okay, I'll make that question very easy to answer, but at least we have. So I will post this, inshallah. And would it be nice if, Haika and Abdullah were here too? But it's a, okay, so I'm going to save this. Reuse post. Thanks. So 51 of the surah. And this is one of the reasons, I would, I was thinking when we were invited by the Olive Grove School, all the principals of the GTA were invited. And, the question is, the why did you open, like, what's the reason? Like, there's always a reason why we do things, right? And I remember the reason in 2015 when I opened the Islamic school, because the health curriculum changed, right? The health curriculum changed, and parents were very much worried. I was already doing tutoring and teaching Quran Islamic studies with a group of teachers. And we registered the school. And you know why? Because one of my daughter could not find admission in the school. It was waiting list and only one. So I opened up my own school, registered with the Ministry of Education, and taught. And then I remember a sister called me and she said, I have three daughters, and this I can only afford this much. I said, come on board. 2015 was the first time the health curriculum changed, and the parents were worried either they would put them in Islamic school or teach them at home or take them back home. That's what the challenge was. And this is when I said, no, inshallah, I'll open the school, not only help myself, but help others as well. Those who are desperate to teach their kids or about Islam, and try our best to put them in Islamic environment, because it's highly essential in this country. And the example I can give is, people don't realize that if there's a room with people who have flu, and you put a child in it for 1 hour, let them play with other children, and the child comes out of that room, what do you expect? Will the child get the flu as well? There are 99% chances that the child will catch that flu. Only 1% maybe not, because the immune system is so strong that the child did not take up the flu, right? It's possible. It is possible in an environment where you put them, in a non-Islamic school, and they don't take the influence. There are chances. I'm not saying they're not. But the point is your child that strong? Is that immune system that strong? So you have to see that it is a big challenge that needs to be taught to others and discussed. What's the question, Asma? What was the question I was asking? Can you please repeat?
Did you ally with a Christian or Jews?
Yeah, correct. Okay, so the question would be, I think I've taught these topics before. Yeah, in Sunday Islamic school, I remember. Should should one is Alice was saying, should the Muslims take specifically for the Jews and Christians as allies? Okay, so that's the question. Okay, Jews as allies, and the answer would be, I always will tell the answer so it's easy for you to answer. Okay, and you would say, of course, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, do not take the Jews and Christian allies. They're in fact allies of one another, and whoever is an ally to them among you, then indeed he is one of them. And we can see they do become one of them. If you see around you, they do become one of them. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says that indeed that they are one of them, and Allah guides not the wrongdoing people. So you have to write this. Okay? Asma, is that clear? So we're doing that so everything stays in our mind, what we're reading, right? So the answer is, do not take the Jews and Christian allies. They in fact allies of one another, and whoever is an ally among them are indeed one of them. That's Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says. So that's chapter 5, Surah Ma'idah, verse number 51. See, in non-Muslim countries, it's not such an issue, but in Muslim countries, it's not an issue because all of them are Muslims, right? But did I post the homework? Should I? Yeah, I just have to put 51. Should the Muslims take Jews and Christians as allies? Okay, save. All right, so we've done this. I'm just going to show you your homework, whatever you've done, I excel, and then Sister Shella can continue. Just give me 1 second. I think today we will, because only Asma will be doing her English, Maths, and Science, but I want her to do coding in French as well. Okay? So mashallah, she can get the benefit more today of getting to do her. I just want to show you how much you've done. I join. Sometimes it logs you out, and this is my class. Where is sign in? Okay, so there we are. And mashallah, we're progressing. Alhamdulillah. Grade 7, grade 5, grade 8, mashallah. Let's see how much you did yesterday. 1 hour and 30 minutes. Okay. 23 minutes. And you did 10, 11, 11 to 12. 10 to 11, 11 to 12. Okay, 92 questions. Yeah, I wanted to reach up to 3 hours, but that's today it will be 1.5 hours, fine, because only Asma. A half an hour each for three each subject, so what's and a half hour? Okay, the question: masses of people on sailboats. Okay, so these were the questions that were done. Okay, and Duolingo. Let me see the progress in Duolingo. You're not increasing a Duolingo. I don't see much progress. I don't know why. Are you doing Duolingo, Asma?
I've been doing Duolingo a while.
You have been doing, so why doesn't it show me as a progress?
I've been checking on my CAC. I've only been doing a lesson per day, but still, I've been doing a lesson per day.
Okay. On the 8th. All right. So you did coding. So there are the 5 subjects that you need to do, inshallah. All right. Did you guys do Urdu on Friday?
Yes, we did.
Okay, inshallah. Okay, send Asma, you can share the screen and then start work. Okay. Assalamu alaikum.
So I come Zulana here yet still. Okay. So Asma, you can start your. We'll do your Excel math first. Inshallah. Asma, I can see your screen, sweetie. You need to share for your math or Excel.
Yeah, Asma, your screen is not shared. Asma?
Yeah, just mentioning that to Asma, she's not sure.
No, I didn't say anything. I didn't hear anything.
Okay, please share your screen.
I'm done.
Okay, so you're done? Are you all done, Asma?
Yeah, I did. I'm finished. I
Okay,
did 15
cool.
minutes math, English, and science
Okay, so
each.
you can have, you'll have, just do 15 minutes break and then you can come back after, you know.
Okay.
But just leave the screen on, okay? Inshallah. Okay. Smart, you back yet? In about 10 minutes, we'll have Quran
I'm back.
class. Okay. So you can, do you want to open up your social studies, maybe? Or you can pick up any subject. Or actually, what? You know what? Asma, did you start the new assignment yet or not, sweetie? The one, like for the Quran 3030?
Sorry, what?
Like the 30 Jews? Did you start the first one yet or no?
No, not yet. I'll finish it on. I'll have it finished by Friday.
Okay, inshallah. I know it's a lot of work, but at the end, it's gonna be, beneficial, inshallah. Something we can look at. We'll have something to look at before Ramadan. Some like really good. And you can add a brother. Quran. There's 3030. There's Yaqeen Institution for season 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. If you want,
Okay.
which is a lot, I know it's a lot, but that's kind of a
Okay.
summary of each just. So yeah, um, yeah, you can take another 10 minutes break if you like, or you know, or you
Yeah,
can just do works, whatever you feel
sure.
comfortable.
Fine. Okay.
Uh, cool. But leave the screen on though. Yeah, okay, inshallah.
Okay, Asma, did you do Duolingo today?
She actually finished everything.
Yeah, it says I'm done. So did you do Duolingo and did you do?
Hmm?
Yeah, I didn't do Duolingo. I just did Excel.
Duolingo? Try to do Duolingo. Coding you can do once or twice a week, but Duolingo try to do 2 times a week as well. Okay, inshallah, because French is also important, right? Yeah, that's good. Jazakallah.
It's
Yep. I finished in unit.
Okay,
Okay,
good. Inshallah, you can do
good.
sister.
Okay, I guess now you can go for the now you're sure you can go for your Quran class, I guess. So just so see you tomorrow, inshallah. Okay, after the by um in the morning, inshallah. Okay, Fiamanullah, take care. Assalamu alaikum.
Take care. Waalaikumsalam.
Yeah, Fiamanullah.
Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam wabarakatuh. Mike and Abdullah aren't here.
Mike and Abdullah are absent. Okay. Okay, Asma, can you open?
Okay, I'm here.
Okay. Asma, can you read from here from the top?
Yeah, I know it. لقد سمع الله. Sorry. الحمد لله. لقد سمع الله قول الذين قالوا إن الله فقير ونحن أغنياء فسنك سنكتب ما قالوا وقتلهم الأنبياء بغير حق ونقول ذوقوا ذوقوا عذاب الحريق ذلك بما قدمت أيديكم وأن الله ليس بظلام للعبيد. الذين قالوا إن الله عهد إلينا ألا نؤمن لرسول حتى يأتينا بقربان تأكله النار. ذلك بما قدمت أيديكم وأن الله ليس بظلم للعبيد. الذين قالوا إن الله عهد إلينا ألا نؤمن لرسول حتى يأتينا بقربان تأكل النار. قل قد جاءكم رسول من قبل بالبينات وبالذي قلتم فلم قتلتموهم إن كنتم صادقين. فإن كذبوك فقد كذب رسل من قبلك بالبينات والزبر والكتاب المنير. كل نفس ذائقة الموت وإنما توفون أجوركم يوم القيامة. فمن زهرها عن النار أو أدخل الجنة فقد فاز. وما الحياة الدنيا إلا متاع الغرور. ألا تبلون في أموالكم وأنفسكم ولتسمعن من الذين أوتوا الكتاب من قبلكم ومن الذين أشركوا أذى كثيرا. وإن تصبروا واتقوا فإن ذلك من العزم من الأمور وإذا أخذ الله ميثاق الذين أوتوا الكتاب لتبينه لتبين لتبين لتبينه للناس ولا تكتمونه فذبذوه وراء ظهورهم واشتروا به ثمنا قليلا فبئس ما يشترون.
Okay, mashallah, tabarakallah. Okay. Where is the new letter lesson? Asma, where is Islamic Studies new lesson?
Right here, the story of a man.
Okay. Can you read it?
Sure. Okay, yeah. أو كالذين مر على القرية وهي خاوية على عروشها قال أنى يحيي هذه الله بعد موتها فأماته الله مئة مئة عام ثم بعثه قال كم لبثت قل لبثت يوما أو بعد يوم قال بل لبثت مئة عام فانظر إلى طعامك وشرابك لم يتسنه وانظر إلى حمارك ولنجعلك آيات للناس وانظر إلى العظام كيف تنشرها ثم نكسوها لحما فلما تبين له قال أعلم أن الله على كل شيء قدير. Translation of the meaning of this verse. Or like him who passed by a town whose roofs had caved in, he said, "Oh, how can Allah ever bring it to life after its destruction?" So Allah caused him to die for 100 years, then raised him up again. He said, "How long have you remained in this state?" He said, "I remained in this state for a day or a part of a day." He said, "No, you have remained in this state for 100 years." Now look at your food and drink. It is untouched by the passage of time. And look at your donkey, how we restore it to life that you might again gain surety and belief concerning resurrection. And we did all of this so that we might make you a sign for people. And look at the bones, how we put them together and clothed them with flesh. When this became clear to him, he explained, I know Allah has power over all things. Who was the man who passed the town? Which town was it? The verse has aroused a great deal of interest among Quran commenters or the Tafsir scholars. Who was the man who passed by the ruined town? Which town was it? What did the man have for food and drink? When did this incident take place? Quran commenters have recounted many things in their attempt to answer these questions in the Quran. In these questions, the Quran, however, does not give any details as to the identity of this man or the ruined town. This is because such details add little to the significance and impact of this incident. Were these details necessary, they would not have been overlooked in the Noble Quran. The most important thing to realize is that this incident narrated by the Quran did take place. Despite the absence of details, the scene comes to life. It stirs the imagination with great clarity and power. It is a scene of ruin and destruction. The town whose roofs have caved in. This is the picture of a ruined town. The collapse of old buildings usually begins with their towers, turrets, and roof. First, their heights tumbled down, followed by their walls, a town in ruins with walls and columns caved in on their foundations. The effect of ruin and decay expresses itself in the man's exclamation, how can Allah ever bring it to life after its destruction? After its destruction, the man is perfectly aware of Allah's presence. His faith was deep. His faith was extremely sound. He was a believer. He did not doubt that Allah could bring it back to life, but he was merely expressing his amazement. His questioning was not out of lack of faith. It was simply an expression of wonderment and surprise. The man, in fact, desired peace of mind and certainty of faith, which is known as haqqul yaqeen, truth, absolute, and assured certainty. If it often happens when a person believes something because he finds ample evidence for it, but that is so wondrous that he cannot help wondering how it all actually happened. Such questions are a result of one's overwhelming desire to know and explore, and they do not spring from a rejection of faith. This urge is especially strong when one is faced with an extremely moving situation. Such a state of mind does not contradict faith. It is rather an essential outcome of a faith that is based on reason and understanding. It is a journey in which higher and better phase. The truly wise and insightful person finds it today compared to its yesterday, markedly distinct and bright. It is a sunnah or law of Allah that He leads sincere truth seekers to His guidance. He lends them inner light and supports them. Allah Most High willed to make the man a sign for mankind. The man was not given any logical or rational argument as to how a dead body could be brought back to life. He himself was made to undergo that wonderful experience. Such a direct personal experience proved very effective. It involved his senses, emotions, and feelings. Its effect was sharp and overwhelming. Allah Most High caused him to die for 100 years. He then brought him back to life while he was dead. Now, while he was dead, the man obviously lost all sense of time and could not tell how long he had been in that state. That is easy to understand. Human beings often misjudge and judge things even when they are in full control of their senses. Mm, Scholars have pointed out that since the man was made to die in the early part of the day and Allah resurrected him in the later part of some other day, when he saw that the sun was still apparent, he thought it was the sun of that very day. How long have you remained in this state? The man replied, a day or a part of a day. But the man was informed, no, you have remained in this state for 100 years. The day of resurrection. The question and answer sequence is meant to demonstrate that on being restored to life on the day of judgment, a person will have no idea how long he had spent in barzakh, the interim period intervening between one's death and the day of judgment. On being raised, he will feel as if he had just woken up after a short nap. A person will feel that his life on earth was not something in his distant past. It would rather appear to be just something that only happened yesterday in the morning or evening. The man's donkey. None of the man's food and drink went bad. It remained a good decision. But the man's donkey wasn't around. The donkey was made to die along with him. Its bones lay scattered here and there. Now Allah said, and look at your donkey. How we bring it back while you were watching. Ibn Kathir reported that As-Sudi, one of the early Quran commenters, explained this incident. Thus, he observed the bones of his donkey, which was scattered all around him to his right and left. Allah sent a wind that collected the bones from all over the area. Allah then brought every bone to its place until they formed a full donkey made of fleshless bones. Allah then covered these bones with flesh, nerves, veins, and skin. Then Allah sent an angel who breathed life into the donkey's nostrils, and the donkey started to bray by Allah's leave. Mm. Now, all these occurred while the man watched. He saw the marvelous sight of a dead animal's decomposed bones being assembled and then covered with flesh and skin. This personal experience fully satisfied a man's mind and heart about life and after death. He proclaimed, I know now that Allah has power over everything. It is also worth noting here that the food was untouched by the passage of time, while the donkey was long since dead and its bone had become utterly rotten. The fact that the donkey, and the provisions were affected in different ways under the same physical and environmental conditions is another sign of that absolute, limitless, and unrestricted divine power. Allah definitely has the power to preserve or restore freshness after decay and disintegration. The suspension of physical laws governing a thing is well within his power. The secret of life and death was unraveled before the man. He was fully convinced that Allah indeed has power over all things. Then the man in our present story came to the right conclusion. Through this story, Allah has for all time to come given evidence of his might. We must also live our daily lives with this conviction. This is how it will be on the day of judgment. Preparing now for then, the Quran relates accounts of earlier community civilization and destroyed societies with the view of conveying lessons for us. The Quran also employs parables for this purpose, which are highly instructive. The above Quranic passage contains lessons for people of all times and places. Most people will not allow themselves to dwell on death, but the true concept of life is that we have come from Allah and are returning to Him. When, how, and where will we die is Allah's secret. Mm. We do not know how much longer we have to live, but what we do know is that we must always be ready for death. In other words, we have to think more of our eternal afterlife than of the present life, which is transient and short. The world continues its course through the ages, but this will not go on forever. A day will come when our time for trial will be over. Then this world will end. The hour is coming, and all those who have lived, the hour is coming in which all those who have lived and died will rise again. This is a truth revealed by Allah several times in the glorious Quran. The resurrection of the body will come about through the mighty power of Allah. He had no difficulty in creating us in the first place, and He will still have no difficulty whatsoever in recomposing the elements of our body and once again giving us life. Islam teaches us that we will present ourselves before Allah to be judged concerning all the good and evil deeds we have done in this life. So that's a chapter. There's still quite a bit of time left. There are a few question passages for this thing, like this one.
Okay. Why do you think Allah has mentioned the incident and not the deeds of the man or other towns?
Okay, Mama. Why do you think that Allah has mentioned the incident and not the details of the man or the town? Because the incident is the only thing that matters. It's basically just saying that, okay, this happened, okay? He trusted us to trust in him.
Okay. The man's exclaiming, how can Allah ever bring it to life was not due to
It was just out of amazement. It was never out of the deficient faith. He was just saying it out of amazement of such a
amazement.
destroyed house,
Okay.
destroyed
What
village,
was Allah's
town.
wisdom behind the making the man undergo the wonderful experience of creation?
He brought him back to life, told him he'd been gone for 100 years, then revived his donkey right in front of him from from the donkey's decaying bones.
Okay, good. Okay, in what different ways were the man and the donkey and the provisions affected?
They were preserved.
The man was uh,
Killed, then resurrected, spoiled, then resurrected, decayed, then resurrected. It's the same deal.
yeah, okay. What timeless lesson do you learn from
From the story expounded in this chapter. Always be ready for you to die. Always be ready for death.
No.
Yes.
Means on the day of judgment, everyone will be resurrected.
Yeah, it basically is always be ready. Always be ready to die.
This life is a test,
Always be ready to
and
die.
after the death, on the day of judgment, we all will be resurrected.
Always be ready to die.
नहीं ये historical lesson नहीं है.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
this is not the moral story.
It's not talking about the moral of the story. It's talking about the timeless lesson that it
Preparing
teaches.
now for then.
I already finished that.
Okay.
So now we have this chapter.
No, okay. Yeah, this was your lesson
Huh?
for
There's
today.
26 minutes.
This was for
There's
your
26 minutes.
this was your lesson for today. Inshallah, we'll see you
There's
tomorrow.
26 minutes.
Okay. Okay. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.